Hello, hello, chismosas y chismosos, and welcome back to Bay Area Housewife of True Crime, where I like to tell the stories of the real cucuys and lloronas of the world. I'm Audrey, a former paralegal, current stay-at-home mom, lifelong lover of true crime. Topics may be triggering. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. With all that being said, grab your hot Cheetos and let's get started on today's case. If you ask people about their hobbies, their answers would depend on each person. I would tell you about my obsession of getting my 10 to 15K steps in a day or my reformer Pilates classes, but only after I would catch you up on my latest true crime obsession. If you would ask Timothy Bindner his hobby, he would tell you, and anybody who asked or listened, all about his hunts for missing girls, visiting cemeteries, repairing gravestones, and writing letters to young girls with money. Claims associate for the Social Security Administration by day, gravedigger at night. He loved his hobby so much that he would take time off of work for it. And he also liked collecting recyclables while doing so. Just picture this man at a cemetery walking around with a plastic bag and a shovel, driving around in his shrine of a van. The inside and outside of his car had pictures of young girls in it. Inside of his car were crayon drawings and messages. Timothy Bindner was not a father. In fact, he had a vasectomy in 1976. Timothy Bindner has been a suspect in the following cases: Amber Schwartz Garcia, Angela Bouguet, Eileen Mishaloff, Michaela Garrett, Amanda Nikki Campbell. He has also helped look for the aforementioned girls. Bay Area serial killer Curtis Dean Anderson confessed to abducting and murdering Amber Schwartz Garcia, but her body has never been found. Angela Bouguet's mother's ex-boyfriend and neighbor Larry Christopher Graham was ultimately convicted for her abduction, rape, and murder. Bay Area serial killer David Mish was convicted for the murders of Margaret Ball, Jennifer Dewey, Michelle Xavier, and Michaela Garrett. Amanda Nikki Campbell, Eileen Mishaloff, and Amber Schwartz Garcia's cases are still unresolved. When interrogated for the Amber Schwartz Garcia case, Timothy admitted to FBI agents that he had, and I quote, might be capable of SAing a child, but he was not sure he would be able to control his urges, but so far has never hurt a child, unquote. To which I strongly disagree, because the psychological effects that all of the children this creep has come into contact with will linger for them for the rest of their lives. But not to worry, because Timothy is a self-proclaimed born-again Christian. Real-life cucuy Timothy Bindner was born on February 26, 1948 in Hammond, Indiana. His dad was in the military and his mom was a nurse. He was the eldest of 5 children. The Bindner family lived in Alaska in the late 50s before settling down in San Bernardino, California. He has blue eyes and sandy hair. He is described to be 5'6", 150 pounds, and was rarely seen without his Oakland A's baseball cap. Sometimes he has a beard, sometimes he is scruffy with the 5 o'clock shadow, sometimes he is clean shaven. After graduating from Pacific High School in 1966, he took classes at Cal Riverside, then transferred to the University of Idaho in 1967. On September 7, 1968, he married his high school sweetheart, Terry. He started his junior year college at UC Berkeley soon after his wedding and graduated with a forestry degree. His mom was said to be controlling and paid for his education up until he married Terry. But don't trip, potato chip. Thanks to part of Timothy's extensive coin collection being sold, they had enough money to buy their first home in Richmond, California, which he thought was great because his brother lived in Pittsburgh. The newlyweds lived in Oregon and Alaska before moving to Maine in 1972, where he took a job at the Portland Water Company. They returned to Southern California in 1973, and in 1975 he landed his job with the Social Security Administration and moved to the Bay Area in Richmond to be exact. Timothy and Terry got divorced in 1979 because, according to Terry, and I quote, he dated women with young children, unquote. On November 19, 1983, Angela Jane Bouquet disappeared from Antioch, California. On November 26 of 1983, Angela's body was found near her home. In December of 1984, Timothy Bindner started visiting Angela Bouquet's grave in the Oakmont Cemetery in Lafayette, California. On June 2, 1988, Timothy started sending Susan Bouquet, Angela's mom, letters. On June 3, 1988, Amber Jean Schwartz Garcia disappeared from Pinole, California between 4:30 p.m. and 5 p.m. The next morning, Timothy went to work at the Social Security Administration as usual and left work around 4 p.m. To de-stress after a long day of work, he headed straight to Joseph Cemetery in San Pablo, California. He says he was home by 5 p.m. However, his wife told authorities it was more like 6 p.m. The next day, Saturday, June 4th, Timothy left his home for a quick road trip to Reno for the purposes of getting hitched around 10 and 11 a.m. It was also that morning that, according to him, he read and learned from a newspaper magazine of the Oakland Tribune about Amber Schwartz Garcia's disappearance. The newly married couple returned on Sunday night, and he was now a stepfather to her 2 young children. On June 6, 1988, Timothy arrived at the Schwartz Garcia home and offered his help to find Amber. On June 15, 1988, dogs tracked Amber's scent to Angela's grave. Dogs also indicated finding Amber's scent in Timothy's van. However, police dismissed the dog's behavior because Timothy had already been at the Schwartz Garcia home. On July 7, 1988, Timothy called Kim saying there was a possible link between Amber's case and Angela Bouquet's case. On July 30, 1988, a deputy sheriff saw Timothy's van parked on Vaqueros Drive in Rodeo, California, approximately 6 miles from where Amber Schwartz Garcia went missing. He was walking up a creek with a plastic bag and a shovel and told the deputy sheriff that he was looking for Amber. On August 16, 1988, another deputy sheriff responded to a call about a man digging a hole by the Franklin Canyon Golf Course. When the deputy arrived, Timothy was sitting in his van and told the deputy that he was searching for cans to recycle and used a shovel to get to hard to reach places.